When did this offseason get so crazy, fam? First point, the OC is not leaving, and this is not a game. What 5 key signings could return with him? One is a small WR who shreds secondaries, another a veteran OT who could leave a starter jobless. If you don't stick around till the end, you'll miss the key for Jaden to revolutionize 2025. Myles Garrett, Indiana, Washington? This is not a meme, man. An ESPN insider dropped a bomb. The franchise wants the QB killing DE. Would you give 2 first-round picks for a 30-year-old beast? Imagine him, Allen, and Payne roaring together. But if the NFC East roasts us for years, do you risk it? Subscribe now or you'll miss out on whether this is genius or suicide. Samuel to Washington? Peters, you're not crazy. The all-purpose WR is on the market, and the front office might make a move. A third-rounder for a guy who hasn't been the same since 2021? This is playing with fire. Why does San Francisco see us as easy marks? If anything, Peters should crush them in negotiations, but if you want details of this volcano, hit the bell and stay till the end. More? Subscribe or get stuck in 1991. What can I say, friends? Are you ready for what's coming in Washington? Because Cliff Kingsbury isn't leaving. He turned down offers from teams like New Orleans, and now, with Dan Quinn and Adam Peters, the Commanders are in win-now mode. But here's what you want to know. Which players could return with Kingsbury in 2025? Let's get to it. Greg Dortch, the return of a small giant? Tell me straight. A 5'7" receiver in the NFL? Cliff already made it work in Arizona, and Dortch was his secret weapon in 2022, 52 receptions, 467 yards. Is this what Jaden Daniels needs? I ask you, do you prefer investing in a cheap veteran like him or going after a big name like T. Higgins? Because Dortch is fast, elusive, and could even return kicks, but can he keep up with the NFC East? I say yes, but only as a compliment. Kelvin Beachum, an emergency plug or a mistake? Heads up. Beachum is 35, but in Arizona, he was a wall with Kingsbury. He allowed only 3 sacks in 2024. Do you know what that means? He's better than Andrew Wiley today. But is he a patch or a solution? If the Commanders cut Wiley and save $8 million, Beachum would be a low-risk signing. But beware! His age is a time bomb. If they want to win the Super Bowl, they need young tackles, not grandpas on skates. Marquise Hollywood Brown, the most dangerous BET? Now we're entering controversial territory. Brown played with Kingsbury in 2022, 709 yards in 12 games. But in Kansas City, only 2 games. I tell you this, Hollywood is more talented than Dortch, but his injuries are terrifying. Is it worth signing a WR who spends more time on IR than on the field? If Adam Peters does it, it's a lottery. But if it works out, imagine Brown and McLaurin flying with Daniels. It would be a show. Will Hernandez, the forced replacement for Sam Cosmi? Urgency, folks! Sam Cosmi is out until 2026 with his knee, and here comes Will Hernandez, ex-Cardinal of Kingsbury, wizard in pass blocking, only 18 pressures in 2024. He's a warrior on the interior line, but also comes off a knee injury. Another risk? Of course! But without Cosmi, what alternative do they have? If Hernandez is healthy, he's a plug-and-play. And with Kingsbury, he already knows the system. Christian Kirk, the thunderous move? Don't tell me you didn't see this coming. Kirk and Kingsbury in Arizona were a force, over 900 yards in 2021. Now, Jacksonville wants T.O. Freeham. But sacrificing a draft pick and $18 million for a WR who only played 6 games in 2024? I say this, it's crazy. Or not. Kirk is under contract until 2025, and if he comes in a trade for a 4th-round pick, he could be the ideal complement behind McLaurin. But this smells like desperation. Is it worth the risk, Commanders fans? My final verdict. Ladies and gentlemen, if Kingsbury wants to be a head coach again in 2026, he needs to win now. Dortch and Beachum? They're patches. Hollywood and Kirk? High-stakes bets, but if they fail, goodbye season. I demand Peters to seek stars, not projects. But if they gamble on Kirk, I give them credit. Because, you know what? Jaden Daniels deserves weapons. Now I ask you, which player should Washington bring in? A cheap veteran like Dortch or a bomb like Hollywood Brown? Myles Garrett could come to Washington. Do we need him? I tell you. Why yes, why no? The 2024 season left us with our hearts in our hands, but the Commanders franchise resurrected like a phoenix. 12 wins, Jayden Daniels as Rookie of the Year, and a trip to the NFC Championship after 30 years of drought. But now, ladies and gentlemen, Washington's front office has to prove it wasn't luck. And how? Well, according to Marcus Spears of ESPN, they want to bring Myles Garrett from the Browns. Did you hear that? A monster with 102.5 sacks. I ask, is this crazy or a brilliant move? Imagine Garrett with that lab-created physique lined up next to Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne. Opposing lines would tremble. But at what cost? Cleveland surely asks for first-round draft picks, and Garrett isn't young. 30 years old, 9 seasons. Is it worth giving up the future for a win now? Now, I tell you this. The Commanders have more than $50 million in CAP space. Yes, losing Fowler Jr., Farrell, and Holmes hurts, but I ask Garrett the solution? This man is a 3X All-Pro, 6X Pro Bowl. A Titan who dominates every snap. But beware, the NFL doesn't forgive. What if he arrives injured? What if he doesn't adapt? High risk. Plus, the Philadelphia factor. The Eagles are building a wall on their line. Garrett, my friends, is the missile that could destroy it. Can you imagine Garrett hunting Jalen Hurts in the NFC East? It would be pure poetry. But again, is it worth burning future capital for a 30-year-old Korean? I think. If the Commanders want to lift the Lombardi in 2025, they need an immediate impact. Garrett is a cheat code. With him, this team not only plays the Super Bowl, they win it. But if the bet fails, will they fall back into the shadows of mediocrity again? And now, I ask the Commander family, would you support a historic trade for Myles Garrett, even if it means losing key draft picks in 2025 and 2026? Or do you trust that young players like Jamin Davis and Emmanuel Forbes will make the leap to consolidate the team? Should the Commanders pay a fortune for Debo Samuel? I tell you what I know. Come on, Commander family. Do you think Adam Peters will let this team waste valuable resources on a declining veteran? I tell you no. The bombshell news today is that analysts project an extortionate trade to bring in receiver Debo Samuel. And the community is divided. Is it worth risking the team's future for a player who isn't the same anymore? I assure you this has more layers than an onion. First, let's connect the dots. Adam Peters was in San Francisco when they drafted Samuel in 2013. He knows his talent, his attitude, even his weaknesses. But here's the problem. Debo is 29, coming off a regressive season, and his contract is a maze of automatic voids. Do we really want to pay a third-rounder in 2025 and a conditional in 2026 for someone who could be just an expensive patch? I ask you. Second, the 49ers want to lighten their payroll, but the Commanders are not a charity team. Ben Strauss proposes sending a third-rounder and getting Samuel plus the 7th. But wait! What good is an expensive receiver if Jayden Daniels needs protection on the line? Priorities, folks! With $15.9 million against the cap, Samuel would be the highest-paid receiver on the team. And if he doesn't regain his All-Pro form from 2021? What happened to those 1,770 yards and 14 touchdowns? That was 3 years ago. Third, here's my truth. If the price drops to a 4th or 5th round, maybe it's worth it. But Adam Peters isn't a fool. He knows Debo's physical wear, his injury history, and if he'd fit in the locker room. Do we really need a diva with an attitude on a rebuilding team? No, sir. The Commanders have a window with Jayden on a rookie contract, but that doesn't mean burning valuable picks on players on the decline. And what do you think? Would you rather use that capital on defense or the offensive line? Or do you think Debo is the secret weapon needed for Daniels to shine? Comment below. My last point, the 49ers have no bargaining power. They want out of the contract, and Peters should play hardball. If we give in, it should be for crumbs. But paying a third-rounder? It's crazy! Would you accept the trade for Debo Samuel if it costs a third-rounder? Or do you demand Adam Peters wait for a better offer? Let's debate! Commander family, let's decide the team's future together. First crucial question, with the need to strengthen the offense, should Washington go for an economical veteran like Greg Dortch for specific roles, or gamble on a high-impact talent like Hollywood Brown to revolutionize the attack? Second key debate, if the defense remains uncertain, would you support a historic trade for a star like Myles Garrett, even if it means losing first-round picks in 2025 and 2026? Or do you trust young players like Jermaine Davis and Emmanuel Forbes to make the definitive leap to consolidate the team? Last critical decision, if you had full control, would you invest the remaining capital in strengthening the offensive line to protect Jaden Daniels, or bring in an explosive player like Debo Samuel to turn this offense into an unstoppable machine? It's time to be heard. Share your opinions, strategies, and controversial trades in the comments. What move would define the 2025 season? And if you want to be part of the most passionate Commanders community on YouTube, subscribe to the channel right now. Activate the notification bell, like this video, and join this family that beats to the rhythm of burgundy and gold. And remember, hail to the Redskins!